Hey guys, how's it going? It's good to be here this week with you for the Oxen Labs update. So essentially this week, there's been a lot of things moving through pipes, if I use an analogy. Um, so on the session side, we have been pushing, as I've been saying for the past couple of months, the user configuration update stuff, the disappearing message update, and also closed groups. They have all kind of become a little bit dependent on each other because the way we want to do disappearing messages is much more elegant if we can rely on some of the stuff that we want to do in the user configuration message management stuff that we're doing right now. The good thing that I have to report to you though is that previously we were being a little bit blocked by Libsession because the new user configuration message management logic that we want to write relies on Libsession util, which is being integrated in every single platform so we can have a consistent strategy. Libsession util has basically finished off all of their work for the user configuration message management stuff that needs to go in per platform. So that is looking really good, and everyone on user configuration messages is moving forward at a really good pace now. And we're hoping that there's kind of a few, I think there's 4 message types in total, and I know on iOS they're nearly finished up with the final message type. Android, I think they're 3 or 4 through, and desktops 2 or 4, I think, through now. So we're getting to the final stages on some of the platforms for the user configuration message stuff, and that's going to make disappearing messages so much easier, and then closed groups as well coming on from that's going to be so much easier once we have this Libsession framework integrated. It was just a lot of upfront work that we did to do that. So yeah, everything's moving really nicely. Then we have the MISC task. So disappearing messages going really well on desktop. Will has finally started bashing through some of those hurdles, so it's looking really good. And Ryan is working on a bit of, on iOS, is working on some bug breather stuff. So basically, he's fixing up like the screen mirroring issue that happens when you make a video call, and also making it so that you can swap the user's view and your view in video calls. So yeah, that wraps up the session stuff. On Oxen Core, basically continuing to work on ONS registrations in Wallet 3. Sean, I think, has resolved one of the primary issues that he was having, which is by inspecting what was going into the TX Extra. It looked like what he was putting into the TX Extra for ONS registrations was the right data, but it wasn't being picked up at another point by the blockchain properly. So he's made some changes to fix that up, and I think he'll be getting onto ONS renewals soon to be put in the wallet. And also things moving along with Ledger, we keep pushing on that train. So hopefully we'll see some additional progress there soon. On the LokiNet side, we have basically just been working really hard on LibLokiNet. We have this really big goal of wanting to integrate LibLokiNet into Session, so we're putting a lot of resources into trying to work out why LibLokiNet isn't acting the same way that LokiNet does. Like, it doesn't have the same performance or reliability as LokiNet does right now. So we're like really working hard to investigate why that is, and we're making pretty good progress there as well. And Dan, who's being onboarded now, is starting to understand more of the core of LokiNet too, and starting to get up to speed. So we're hoping for some really good results there soon as well. But it's hard to say anything certain when you're debugging code like this. I can't necessarily say it's going to be finished next week when tomorrow they may come across the most miraculous thing that or the bug that's causing all of the issues, or it might take a bunch of fixes to come through with the final result. So that's mainly what they're working on, and Jeff's working on this platform refactor as well, which seems to be going well as well. Everything's going well. That's the wrap on the development efforts. But no, hopefully we'll be able to see a lot more releases coming out in Session soon, and some major things happening with Session, LokiNet, and Oxen this year. So stay tuned. All right, thanks guys.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another week here at the weekly lab updates. So what do we have to talk about this week? Alex has finished up a first draft of the new Oxen light paper that we've been working on. Like as we mentioned before, and you've probably seen in the progress tree that we put out, but this year we're very much Oxen focused. It's one of the core things that we're going to be focusing on, and so that means part of that is we're trying out different messaging, seeing what works, what fits, what doesn't, and so creating this light paper is a great testing ground for us to try and really refine and work out what's working and what's not. So I suspect there's going to be a whole bunch of internal versions of us just like refining it before we're ready, and it's good enough to have a public release of anything going on. But that's what we've been working on, and on top of that we've been also doing a whole bunch of session video tutorials, just getting a new set out there that have been done. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff ranging from joining communities to making calls to adding contacts, all of that good stuff. And we've had stuff like this in the past, but due to all the UI and UX changes that Session have had, it's just good to get all of our video guides up to date and current, so people know what's going on. So you should be able to see all of that. Check that. They'll be dropping on our YouTube as well as across our docs and our support channels. And speaking of support channels, we've been doing a bunch of work on them at the moment as well. So we've been creating guidelines and a whole bunch of macros to make it easier for any new and existing support agents to be able to just work as effectively and fast as possible, because as Session grows, the amount that our support gets hit grows as well. So we need to make sure that it's as friction-free as possible for new and existing people to be able to give that support so it doesn't drain our resources. On top of that, on the foundation front, we have been continuing to plug away at the annual reports that are coming out. We've basically wrapped one of them up, one of them's in the bag, and then the other one should be slated for a release at the end of this month, hopefully. Like I mentioned last week as well, we're going to be heading to Monerotopia, which is exciting, and because of that, we're creating a bunch of materials that we're going to need to make the most out of it as possible. So we've been doing that, and on top of that, we've actually got another conference that we're going to be heavily involved with in the same month as well. So we're just in the process of finalizing that up. There'll be I can't say too much about it at the moment, but we'll definitely be having talks, and there'll be panel discussions and all of that. So that's essentially the wrap. That's the weekly wrap, and I'll see you guys next time.